On the occasion of the World Environment Day, today I'm going to introduce you to somebody who's leading the fight for the energy change with the front foot. In our country, natural gas is one of the most clean and the energy efficient fuels which is available to mankind on the planet. And one such organization is AG&P Pratham, whose MD and CEO, Mr. Abhilesh Gupta, is going to join me here to talk about this. Welcome to this conversation, sir.
Thank you.
I mean, let me start first by asking you, sir, आपकी खुद की journey बहुत interesting रही है, and you're a very interesting man at the helm of affairs for AG&P Pratham. And before I go into dig deeper about your role and how AG&P is leading the revolution in terms of clean and green energy, I would like to talk about a few stints of yours. AG&P Pratham तक पहुंचने के लिए what all kind of experiences you went through and reached here?
So I have started, actually my home city is Alwar in Rajasthan. It's a small town. And I have done my schooling all across Rajasthan, lot of places, because my father's job was transferable job, government servant. And then for pursuing my chartered accountancy, I came to Delhi. I did my chartered accountancy from Delhi, and I started with a company called A.F. Ferguson and Company, which was that point of time a leading chartered accountant company in the country. And I moved from there to multinational companies like Asian Brown Boveri, Rio Tinto. And then suddenly something happened and I moved to the hydrocarbon sector.
Yes, suddenly something happened, बड़ा important लग रहा है. So suddenly something पे थोड़ा सा we'll dig deep.
So I got some opportunity to go to outside country for employment opportunity. But I was never looking at those opportunities because Rio Tinto is a multinational company, largest mining company in the world, and they were transferring me to Australia, but I was not keen. So I had to take something at that juncture. So I have got selected in Indraprastha Gas Limited, and then the turn of event happened. So from a completely multinational background, I have come to a semi-government kind of a setup. And then the hydrocarbon energy sector involvement and my persuasion to that sector is started. So I have worked for Indraprastha Gas Limited in Delhi at the time when there was a huge kind of a focus to move the entire public transport from diesel to CNG, compressed natural gas. There were directives from Supreme Court. There were all around support from the government of India also. Certain policies were framed for priority allocation of natural gas, priority allocation of land, and then the journey started in India with respect to using CNG as a cleaner fuel. And from there, I have gone to Petronet LNG Limited at the initial stage itself when the Petronet was in a formative stage in 2004. And it was the first and the largest LNG importer in the country. And today it accounts for almost 60 to 70% of total LNG being imported in the country. And I worked there for 8 years and was looking at commercial financial function. And then again the journey started from semi-government sector again back to investment side or multinational kind of an experience again. And I have gone to a private equity, 6 private equity backed company developing different infrastructure project in country, including the largest, one of the largest run to river power plant.
Okay.
So this private equity firm was backed by Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, General Atlantic, and 3 more private equity investors. Partly I was based in Singapore at that point of time. And then thereafter I moved to AG&P for developing LNG terminals not only in India but across the globe. And we have been successful looking at some projects. Some of the projects got final shape also and they are now operating. And that point of time, Government of India started looking for developing the CGD sector all across India, not only limiting it to the major cities. The focus of government changed that natural gas shares would increase in the overall energy basket from 6% to 15%. And then they started looking for awarding these concessions all across India. And the first round of such concessions started in 2018 under the aegis of Petroleum and Natural Gas Board, and we also participated. We were looking at setting up an LNG terminal there in South, and this was a natural thing for us to participate. We participated, we have got some success in that, and thereafter the 10th round happened immediately and we got more success. And with that, the journey with respect to developing the city gas sector in India started. So we are now present along with our sister concern Think Gas in 50 districts.
I was just coming there. The success, I'll give you the number because it's often said that success is measured in numbers. 50 districts, if I'm not wrong, and देश के 10% टेरिटरी कवर करते हैं आप, ऑलमोस्ट 180 मिलियन कंज्यूमर्स को आप पहुंचाते हैं. एंड आई थिंक द काइंड ऑफ जर्नी यू हैड, वो जो एक गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट का बेटा अलवर में राजस्थान में जगह जगह पढ़कर निकला है, यू हैव टच्ड द गवर्नमेंट पार्ट आल्सो, सेमी गवर्नमेंट पार्ट, एंड यू हैव कम बैक टू प्ले इन द कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर विद द बिग बॉयज आल्सो. इट्स काइंड ऑफ अ होलसम जर्नी इफ आई से सो. एंड आई थिंक गलत नहीं होगा सर अगर मैं आपको कहूँ एज द क्लीन फ्यूल मैन फॉर आवर कंट्री. You know, like we have different pioneers in different fields. आपने एक अरसा देखा है जहां पर जब ऑप्शन नहीं था दूसरा इंडिया में ऐसे फ्यूल का, जब वो आया है और उसको स्क्रैच से सेटअप करना. You know, so I believe not just a rich experience that you come up with, but you also must have learned new things on the go, on the job, of setting up something so unique and for the first time in the country, I believe. When you look back, what are the kind of feelings and emotions that you see? Actually,
for success of any new product in India, when things have not been seen, not only, particularly India is such a large country, something which has been done in North India probably has not done in South India. And then you have to do a lot of advocacy with respect to what you are planning to do. Fortunately, the governments have been supportive, looking at that what benefit we are going to provide to the community, to the environment, and what kind of employment we are going to generate, and the investment, of course.
The investment, of course.
So, considering all those 4 or 5 factors, we have been successful in doing our advocacy with the various state governments with respect to favorable tax regime, favorable permission to lay our groundwork, and also reaching to the customers. We have been successful even to see that industries using dirty fuel move to a cleaner fuel.
Correct.
And there is a focus not only in India but in the entire world today to look at that, how do we reduce the carbon footprint and become the carbon neutral going forward.
तो बहुत ही बेसिक सवाल मैं पूछूंगी सर आपसे, एक फॉर अ लेमैन, यू नो, बिकॉज देयर इज स्टिल एक, जैसे कहते हैं ना, थ्योरी चलती है लोगों की कि नेचुरल गैस भी इतनी नहीं है जो तुम समझते हो. ऑन द इंटरनेट देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ थ्योरीज, कॉन्स्पिरेसी थ्योरीज भी, कि ऐसे लोग बोलते ही हैं बस नेचुरल गैस है, ऐसे होता नहीं है. बट स्टिल इफ आई आस्क फ्रॉम यू, व्हाट आर द क्वालिटीज ऑफ नेचुरल गैस दैट मेक इट मोर प्रॉमिसिंग फ्यूल ओवर अ पेट्रोल और अ डीजल, अगर हम लेमैन को बिल्कुल आराम सिंपल टर्म्स में समझाने की कोशिश करें?
सी, इट हैज लेस कार्बन फुटप्रिंट, certainly it has a less NOx and SOx, but more than that, it is much safer than petrol, diesel, and much more safer than LPG. So LPG we are using in our household, we are using in industries, we are using in the restaurant. So LPG is a highly inflammable, and particularly the temperature which we see in India now going beyond 50 degree also. At a 50-degree temperature, if you are keeping an LPG cylinder outside, it will be potentially exploding. And those kind of situations which will keep on occurring and which have been happening in the country. So natural gas is the safest fuel among all the hydrocarbons which we have, with limited kind of awareness with the people of how to use it properly. It is the most safe fuel, most environment fuel, safely fueled, as well as there is a less kind of noise pollution as well.
True.
So natural gas is a fuel of choice, and that is the reason government also looked at that its share should increase to 15% than 6% what we have been. Globally, natural gas share in the entire energy market for the developed countries almost 25%.
Oh wow.
So we are still far behind.
We are lagging way too much.
Lot. So we are meeting most of the primary requirement with coal, and we are using a lot of this imported oil. So we are a lot of dependence on the oil import. 85-90% of our import is on the crude is imported what we are using.
Correct.
So it becomes quite natural that you should have a diversity of fuels.
If self-sufficient nation also,
Self-sufficient,
correct.
and diversity is also important.
Now, when I talk about AG&P Pratham operational, could you please tell us about the operational areas and the regions and their business segments and the segments you cater to?
So we are now present in 10 states, in 50 districts, as I said, and these mostly the districts are centralized in southern India, include south part of Chennai, Trivandrum, Mysore, most other part of Karnataka, then in in Rajasthan, Jodhpur, Badmer, and then Jalandhar, Ludhiana. So we have a lot of areas which we are covering, and with this, the particularly four segments which we are covering who are using natural gas are transport sector, by way of supplying them to compressed natural gas CNG, then domestic household, replacing LPG as a cooking fuel, and also promoting using of natural gas for our geyser also. So geyser which are using electricity, natural gas becomes much better fuel to use.
I went to a friend's home for the first time. I realized that it's not a geyser. He said gas se chalta hai.
So I have also installed one in my house.
Oh wow!
And everybody is happy with that, because if you don't have light, suppose it is still operating.
Yeah.
And especially for girls. So I have two daughters, because when they go for some cleaning of their hair and all, they need a lot of water in winters, right? So if you have 20-liter geyser, water finishes fast.
Like this, yeah.
So this geyser will give you continuous supply.
No, this is something I can vouch for, because it just keeps giving warm water without running out of.
Continuously giving warm water without any interruption.
Very true.
So maybe people should be using gas geyser. And in developed countries, specifically in Japan, who is using natural gas from almost like 120 years now.
Oh my God.
This is particularly this natural gas use are quite significant. They are not only using it for geyser, they are using for heating purposes also. So every household has natural gas connections, and the kind of use is quite significant.
India is still a very new player. That means when it comes to using this, I might say, magical source of natural fuel.
Quite new. So first time we started importing LNG in 2004 only, not before that. And gas import started happening, and the production which used to happen in India was not sufficient. And natural gas usage was largely concentrated in large cities, natural gas.
So clearly you have a lot more job chalked out in front of you.
Yes.
Lots more to do, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But like I asked you, and there's a rich diversity that you come from, different companies, different kind of genres, and then coming back here. Agar मैं आपसे पूछूं to say chalk out 3 most important pivotal moments in your career, which led you to at the helm of this company. So वो कौन से 3 moments होंगे?
So first was, of course, joining AG&P itself, which has happened again without any plan. So I was quite comfortable in the earlier organization, but then things changes in life. So that's one. And then the opportunity which has come from these auctions, and we have already done our lot of groundwork before that, but then the auctions happened and we could successfully do it. And the third opportunity which came when we have got the successful round of our fundraise, which has happened through our existing shareholders, and the Japanese shareholders also came. So Japanese shareholders also came. Osaka Gas became our partner. Even some investment has happened directly by the Japanese government's investment arm also. So with that, then we have developed our team from scratch. So I was the first employee in City Gas in India, and it started from my home, and then we developed a team. Today we are 1,000 people.
My God. Yeah. Wow. So you already have an extensive experience in the sector. It's been more than 3 decades, sir. But this is what I wanted to understand when I was going through your journey, and when I said we can clearly give you the term of being the clean fuel man of India. What is the kind of changes? What are the kind of changes you've seen, and the challenges? Changes do not come without challenges. तो सिर्फ change के साथ साथ अगर आप challenge भी हमें बताएं, what you must have faced through, because it sounds very nice and comfortable when you say it in one go, and आपने बता दिया हमें 10 minutes में और experience, but when you live it, it's very different.
Yeah. So, as I said that the policies, when you have not seen a product, the policies are not there. So most part of these areas where we are developing our infrastructure, this product was never seen.
Correct.
The product was available in metro cities. And so the administration in these areas, also the state governments, the chief minister, the ministers, respective ministers, it took a lot of time for us to convince them.
Okay.
Because people are comfortable using LPG. People were comfortable using earlier, before LPG, even kerosene in the houses.
Oh yes,
And then
I remember
LPG
that time.
came, lot of resistance it faced. But finally, when people saw it is more convenient, it was adopted. And similar journey which we are going through now. People are comfortable with LPG, but when we see and somebody started using natural gas in their household, where the gas is available on tap, people then understand, yes, it is much better, much safer fuel and much convenient to us.
Correct.
24/7 availability. So that's, it's a process which take time to make people understand. Then we have to also work a lot on the policy front with respect to getting the permissions. So if you can imagine laying thousands of kilometers of pipeline reaching to every household, and then you need to dig the road.
It's
you have
a humongous and a Herculean
and then
task.
in India there is a other issue, which is that there are other utilities also, and those utilities are not mapped. So if they are mapped in the GIS map, you can see, okay, this utility is going there under this step. You can lay your infrastructure. You have a permission, but even after getting the permission, which itself took a lot of time, and we need the permission at the right cost also. So we can't get a permission which is too expensive for us to lay our infrastructure, because then ultimately the end product will become expensive to the customer. So we have to also see that customer not only get the benefit of safety and convenience, it is economical also for them. So we have to make that economical to the customers also. So going through entire journey, and then what we have done, that after understanding all those things, from the day one we started using technologies. Very strong technology involvement has started happening, which means that every pipeline is mapped in a GIS.
Wow.
We mapped every pipeline, every asset, every household is completely mapped, and also the depth of the pipelines are mapped. So we have set up very strong control room. The automation is done to the core, and we have done much better system, and our even the Japanese shareholders are appreciating that this is something very quite unique.
The magnitude of it is unfathomable.
Probably we are the only CGD company in India who has developed this kind of a system from scratch.
Wow, this is all within us. This is self-made, made in India.
So it is all done in India, yes, but implementation is all has done in India. We have developed our all system packages, and every asset is mapped today. So we face these problems with utilities, but we know that some other utilities will come after we have done. So at least we have to tell them that this is what it is, and this is where our pipelines are going. So it becomes much more safer for other person also to take.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, this is crazy. This is something जो एक common man को शायद इल्म नहीं होता है इस बात का, जब वो अपने घर में एक बार गैस ऑन करता है.
Correct.
कि वो कैसे आ रही है और कितने सालों की मशक्कत के बाद वो पहुंचती है वहां पे, और कितने सारे लोगों की मेहनत का नतीजा होता है.
So most of the people spend on technology only when they have seen and grown to certain extent.
Yes.
From our standpoint of view, our stakeholders have supported. Please spend on technology first, and you will be much better to operate your asset. So we have to operate our asset with the full safety also.
True.
And looking at the kind of shareholders we have, safety takes the prime seat.
The priority.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you cannot compromise.
We cannot compromise on that. Even whatever the regulations which are framed in India on the safety basis, we go much beyond that.
Wow.
And we are keeping our assets safe. We are keeping our people safe. Yeah.
And I think that's how you ensure the safety of the customer automatically. When you have checked all the check boxes.
Yes.
When I talk about the CGD network, so could you explain how AG&P Pratham CGD network contributes to reducing carbon emissions compared to the traditional energy sources?
So in the CGD, so what we are doing is that we are also looking at some efficiencies to be built in, and we are bringing those technologies also in India. a person who is using a dirty fuel or even the natural gas, there are some more processes involved. And there is so much of advanced technology available by which we can increase the efficiency of the natural gas equipment itself. So that can give around 15 to 20% more efficiency in industrial applications. So we are working with our Japanese partners. They have such technologies, and we are trying to bring those technologies in India. Other than that, we are also promoting use of compressed biogas, and we are quite forthcoming and supporting the production of compressed biogas, and also ensuring that their offtake is done. So a lot of biogas which is produced and they're not getting the market. So we are providing that market, and you cannot store gas. So if they're producing it is not sold, it has to be
consumed,
evaporated.
Or given, evaporated. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's a issue which most of the biogas producers were facing, and we are ensuring that we are giving them proper market and product and using the entire gas. So it's considered biofuel.
Yeah.
Using that along with our natural gas, there is a substantial amount of carbon reduction which we are contributing to.
But this was what I was coming to next. What is your viewpoint upon the kind of initiatives taken by the government of India when it comes to compressed biogas?
So the initiatives which have been taken by the government is really going to help increasing the biogas share in the country. It will also reduce our import bill. It will also reduce burning of crops, which has happened, which is creating lot of pollutions in the country. And also, important part is it is going to contribute to the income of the farmers also. So when you have a production with something which is then used commercially, there is an income also available to the farmers. So disposable income of farmers is also going to go up. So it has all the four or five benefits, and that's the precise reason that government is also supporting wholeheartedly, and government is also talking about giving some financial incentives also. And we are also playing our role in that.
Yes, how are you helping?
So wherever we have our districts where we have laid our infrastructure, the biogas producer need not to duplicate that infrastructure.
Okay.
So for biogas producer, the quantity which they produce is quite small. So they are not in a position to develop a
that kind of
infrastructure. So if we can make our infrastructure available to these biogas producers, or we buy the entire gas which they produce and use our infrastructure for distribution, so it's a win-win situation for all. So we are trying to talk to each and every biogas producer. We have given our commitment to some of them, and our plan is to reach and procure 100 ton per day biogas in coming 3 to 4 years itself.
So that's the kind of next step that you see immediately happening in our own country.
Absolutely.
And how important, time and again, I'm hearing you talk about reducing the dependence upon the import. What further steps do you think could the government sort of take to make that a dream achievable, probably, the day where we don't, as a country, depend upon the import?
So there are two parts of it. One is reducing the overall foreign exchange bill of import on our energy, because most of the energy imported except coal. And another part is how do you completely go away with it after few years. The first part is that today so much of crude is imported. So if you increase the use of natural gas, probably your dependency on crude comes down. Maybe the import bill of natural gas increases, but in natural gas is price discount to crude on an energy term. So your overall import bill gets reduced by 20 to 30% straightforward. Whatever you are replacing with respect to crude, your import bill comes down.
Okay.
Then of course the production of biogas also has a huge capability to reduce our import, and also the third part is our domestic production itself. So that also the government is quite focused, and private participation is now getting encouraged, and there are sufficient incentives available for private producer to also take that risk and reward. So there are three things which government is doing. I think on a long term, we have to also see that how do we blend hydrogen, which can be locally produced in a significant quantity, and how do we make our existing infrastructure using the hydrogen for the purpose of using in the household or in the industries or in the power plant or in fertilizer, etc. So again here there are a lot of technological development which is happening other part of the world, and we are trying to see that how we bring those technologies. So one such example is that in Japan they are talking about making the synthetic methane, which is the methane produced out of the hydrogen.
Okay.
And that methane is same as natural gas. So you need not to set up an alternate infrastructure to carry hydrogen. And this can be transported through the existing setup which we have.
Oh, wow.
So, and it is much safer. Keeping hydrogen molecules safer is it's a difficult task. Natural gas people are already aware of. So that's a long-term vision. And our company will also gear up that by 2030 we have at least 1 to 2% share of this kind of gas, and then replacing everything by 2070.
So this
which is our goal.
This sort of conversations which happens, you know, in the markets, the corridors, or even amongst the laymen, जब भी environment की बात होती है, this is achievable, where one day India completely stops
so we don't
the dependency.
Yeah, I think it is achievable, and this is something which is most of the countries are trying to do. With technological advancement, you can produce synthetic natural gas in India itself. And some point of time, maybe it's a long drawn journey, but in 30-40 years time, it will be realized.
Fantastic. Talking about AG&P, Pratham sir, what makes AG&P technologically advanced in the industry?
So, as I said, that from the day one, we have been spending a lot of money on the technological side. So, all the stations are automated. So, we can switch on, switch off our stations sitting in the control room. We have very sophisticated systems like SCADA. We can switch any valve, stop supplies of natural gas, we stop the section of pipelines.
All automated.
Any incident, all automated.
Wow.
And huge money is spent on this automation. But yes, we have backup also. If one system fails, there is another system which is operating. So with this, not only it becomes much safer, but it is becoming much more commercially viable also. So having such a widespread area, which is 10% of the country's area, running with people or with vehicles to take any maintenance job or any emergency situation, it is always important that you have technology. So with technology, you can control everything, and we have been successful in doing that. So even a CNG station we can operate remotely.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. I mean, this is something so fascinating for a person to know how that goes, and I'm sure the kind of planning goes into it and the technology that must be putting into it is of this supreme premier quality.
Absolutely, yes.
Best of the engineers, no doubt in our country. I'm sure that helps.
So we develop everywhere all the technology across the globe. Only thing we have been not using it. So we have, that is the advantage which we have, that we get cheaper technology because we have that manpower available.
Otherwise, brain power, I think.
And we use it locally. So we can use it locally. Of course, some of the other development which has happened abroad, SCADA, etc. systems we can still import, but with respect to software development, we can do that. Yeah.
When talking about the safety and the environment compliance, sir, how does AG&P ensure that they are sticking to it, the compliance to the operations and everything?
So we are compliant with all the statutory norms, but we are doing more than that also.
Correct. I'm sure at such a level where you have to perform like this, you have to go beyond than what is written.
So this is something which we are aspiring that we should be reaching to some point of time carbon neutral as well. And as I said, not only sourcing biogas, which we are doing,
correct,
and the increasing use of that, we are also doing some activities with respect to plantation of trees also. So we have planted almost 2,000 plus, and not only planted. The planted is one word, but maintaining them also.
Correct.
So we maintain them for 3 years till the time it reaches to self-sustaining life. So we have done almost 2,000 trees in Jodhpur, and we will be doing some thousands of such trees across our geographies going forward.
Nice. So too much going on, too much on the plate, and too much plans in the pipeline.
Yeah. Now, then the other thing is that lot of these areas where the three-wheelers which are used for movement of inter-village movement of
correct.
people,
जी, last mile connectivity
last
के
mile
लिए,
connectivity,
correct.
they are using diesel.
हाँ.
Very old three-wheelers using diesel, lot of noise. And if you can replace them with CNG,
Nothing
it makes
like
life easier for everybody. And not only it is economical and it is much cheaper and it saves money, but and it reduces the pollution. But you see the person who is riding that auto, in 12 hours he hears the same diesel noise. Yes. And when you start using CNG, it's almost silent. So these people are also quite happy. Once they start using it, they're very, very happy.
Not just the environmental improvement, but mental improvement also happens with the
is very,
last
very.
person.
So you go and speak to some of these drivers who have shifted from diesel autos to this. They will see that they can sleep properly in the night. So lot of these social factors also comes into picture. So
see, we never realize how a company like this can affect this.
So our role is that we develop the CNG station in such a fashion that the entire length and breadth of our area of operation, there is a CNG available. So people need not to travel 20-30 kilometers to fill their vehicle. So that's how we are doing. We're almost completed 400 CNG stations in no time.
Wow.
Some point of time we were developing almost one station per day.
One station per day. And on an average, how much time does it take to? It's one
so
or
we were commissioning one station per day. So many things were going on, and then we said, okay, it's too much now. Let's stop it.
That's mind-boggling. One station per day is crazy.
That's what we were doing in last year.
My God, that's some progress being made. Like
so our project team was quite dedicated. So
when you have a huge brand like AG&P, you not only work with making the nation a better place, but you also help directly or indirectly by giving employment opportunities to people also. So what are the kind of significant in your eyes, the kind of opportunities you have given to the people wherever you've gone and laid your lines and maintained your stations?
So in last 2.5 years, we have spent almost 8,000 crore in infrastructure development, and it's quite a significant number in city gas companies. Probably this kind of fund investment has not happened so far in India in such a short span of time. And this all infrastructure we are developing in tier 2 or tier 3 cities. So today in India, the employment generation is more required in tier 2 or 3 cities than in metro cities. So we are ensuring that we take local people for our employment. And the rough estimate, last year we have contributed to almost 20,000 job creation in these areas. And these are the local people. They need not to travel to Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Calcutta for the purpose. So they get the job there. And going forward in coming 5 years, we continue to have this kind of manpower deployment for our projects execution. So we see that this is single largest contribution to the society from our side. Providing employment and a respectable living to someone is very, very important.
Very, very important. That adds to the cultural ethos to the company also, I think. Sort of just like by the virtue of the fact that it's not the main focus, but becomes a byproduct of what you guys do.
And we try to involve more local communities and local employment.
I was just coming to there because when such big power plants or such big companies come, energy sector companies come in, a community is formed.
Yes.
And probably maybe some example where you visited and you were touched or you were, you saw something take shape which was beautiful. Koi anecdote ho aapke paas share karne ke liye, koi kissa?
So we have one area in Ramnathpuram where, and we have visited the community hall which people have been using, but quite in depleted conditions. So we've completely revamped it. And if you see the picture from earlier and then now, you will be completely zapped. And the people are really happy there now. They understand this is company also contributing to our development. There was a huge issue with respect to availability of drinking water also. So we have made sure that drinking water, clean drinking water, treated drinking water is available. We set up 2 big ROs there. And that is something which we have done. Now we are working on providing some community kitchens also. The poor people who can go take their raw material and cook, and not necessarily that they have to use wood or coal. So these are some initiatives which we are going to do, and some of them we have already done. We have renovated very old temple in south. Somebody asked us, and then it was some old temple. Then lot of other places there was some schools where we have to redo their boundary, but it was completely collapsed. So most of these things we keep on doing at a very local level, and those things even need not to come to me for approval. So our local team is quite empowered to do these kind of
it's become a part of
activities.
The normal working routine system where they know that this is something we take up when we reach an area, we take it up as our own.
We take it up, yeah.
Okay, that's great. So what are the future plans for expanding for AG&P Pratham's future, the CGD network, and how do these plans integrate with the broader environmental sustainability goal? Because this is something which is very important nowadays. बाकी सब में से environmental sustainability goals बहुत जरूरी हैं कि clear रहें लोगों के पास.
Yeah, so our focus is again to reach and develop this infrastructure in coming 5 years, almost reaching to 3 to 4 million household, and reaching to every industry who is operating today, so that they can replace the dirty fuel which they are using. Huge kind of pollution today is being contributed to the industrial pollution which these people are using, either coal, briquettes, furnace oil. These are the dirty fuel. And if we are in a position to develop our infrastructure into the factories of these factories gate, and also in a position to see that how do we increase the energy efficiency. So a lot of these things in environment you can contribute by way of energy efficiency also. Like a small example, like you have a hybrid car. The mileage of hybrid car is 30 to 40% more, which means you are using less fuel, less pollution.
Yeah.
So similarly, with that kind of energy efficiency, if you are using 1 unit of energy to do something, if you can reduce it by 20%, 0.8, it's also contributing hugely in the environment. So replacement of dirty fuel, thereafter creating efficiency also, is two major factors which can contribute hugely in our carbon footprints. This is what we are attempting to do. Then on the household segment also, once you are connected with the natural gas, there is no movement of LPG cylinder from door to door. So then the transport of that LPG also reduces significantly. So that also, so every small step contributes a lot in the environment. So all those things we are working on, and we last year probably we have net saved around 30,000 tons of CO2.
Wow.
When our operations are quite small with respect to marketing. So infrastructure development has happened, marketing is yet to happen. And we think that this is going to go multifold times with respect to our net CO2 savings.
Fantastic. That we don't realize what effect a small little thing brings in the greater picture. I think nobody realizes that.
So a lot of these fuels like diesel, petrol, LPG is transported by trucks, big trucks. And if you are in a position to reach with pipelines to these stations, to these households, how much energy is saved, how much pollution is saved. So people don't realize it, but it's a significant contribution to the environment.
It is. I mean, I'm from Himachal. I don't know what's the status, but I would like you to get my hills cleaner, because I see all these diesel trucks going up and down the hills.
So we have in Himachal, Kangra and Chamba, which we are developing. We got just license last year, and we are going to develop that also.
Oh, fantastic. Please check if you have in your city. I'm very keen to know this. But as yourself, as someone, who's led the change from the front foot on this World Environment Day, sir, what is the kind of message you sort of want to give to the other industry leaders, what they can do in their role to combat the climate change? Because at the end of the day, it might be business, it might be competitive, but it's also about the environment at the end of the day, saving the planet for sure.
So actually, it is important that all these industry players, specifically if we talk about multinational companies, pharma industries, who can afford using natural gas easily, instead of saving some small fuel cost, and it doesn't make lot of contribution to their overall cost component, they should immediately be moving away from dirty fuel rather than looking at small savings. These multinational, I'm surprised
Not
that
biting
some
your
of
words
these,
at all. I'm happy.
yeah, some of these multinational companies, European companies,
Ji.
American companies, food processing companies, they're exporting food, etc. These medicine which they are producing, these companies, they can use natural gas very easily rather than depending upon this. So some of these industry leaders should take this role as a primary role, that just we have to compulsorily use natural gas if it is available. And the second thing, as I said, spend money on technology to increase the efficiency of your system.
This is something which is going to stay with me, I think,
Yes.
from the conversation with you. How to get the most out of your existing systems by increasing the efficiency.
And fortunately, and around the globe, people have worked with those technologies. Those technologies are available. Please spend on that. It will pay you back immediately, and not only with respect to monetary terms, with respect to environment also. Immediate saving.
Wow, that's really great. Before I end this conversation, sir, something personal, like an experience or an anecdote that has significantly influenced your approach towards sustainable energy and environmental stewardship?
Nothing in particular as such, but yes, once I have gone to energy sector.
Ji.
In this, because before that, even as a normal citizen, I also did not bother that air condition is running or anything is available to me. But yes, once you have gone to this sector and you have seen very closely that how the things has happened and how it contributes to the environment. And if CNG would not have been there in Delhi, we were living in hell. Already the pollution is quite
I cannot
high.
Imagine where we would have been.
Yes, so
today.
Those things has put in a lot of thing in my mind that something has been done by one company with the help of Supreme Court government. It has changed. It has made a lot of change, positive change. So why not to contribute the similar change to other part of the country? Why not people other part of country also deserve the same kind of access to the same fuel which people in Delhi, Bombay has. So this is what we are trying to do now. Fortunately, I am in this role. I can contribute with this role onto this goal also.
That's fantastic. What's the most, say, beautiful thing about working in this sector? Because this seems like a very hectic job. I'm just trying to understand so that people understand that there is a beauty in doing this kind of job also. It's a responsible job. It's a demanding job.
So we are touching a lot of communities. That gives a lot of comfort. And then, of course, you are meeting a lot of people. You are traveling a lot all across. So all southern India, northern, western part of India, central India. So it gives a lot of experience with respect to understanding the country also. So that also gives me a self pleasure that you know your country much better than living in some big city and only thinking that this is what is the end of the world, right? So lot of community connect which has happened. Lot of people we have come to know. A lot of ground realities which we have come to know while speaking to different policymakers, politicians, meeting with the small shopkeeper, commercial establishment, industrial player. Everybody has some or other problem or something to share, something to share. So that excites a lot. So other than work, these are the value addition in your life, your career, your knowledge bank.
I'm sure. What, according to you, sir, do you see right now as the biggest challenge in terms of getting India to switch to a more sustainable energy source? What is the biggest challenge now in 2024?
Actually, energy transition take a lot of time. It's not that switch on, switch off kind of a situation. So if I see what are the challenges in 24 and what are the challenges in 25 and what have been in 23, probably the needle doesn't move. So the challenge remains same in 23, 24, 25, but gradually you go.
Okay.
And so challenge is to reduce our import bill today. And yeah.
There, I get it. I get it that the progress is slow but steady.
Yes.
And at the end,
the direction has to be clear. You can't keep on changing your policies every second day. That today this is promoted, tomorrow that one is promoted. People have made so much of investment in a particular thing, and there is a direction towards that. And then one fine day, suddenly the policy change happens.
Got it.
That should not be the case, and that's where I think government is also quite aware of it. And I think, God willing, we should be meeting our targets pretty soon and on time.
Thank you so much, sir. With you at the helm of affairs, I'm sure it's capably ensured that it will be delivered. I'm definitely sure of that. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure
Thank
to
you.
have you
Thank
here
you.
with us in this
Nice to see
conversation.
you also.
Very, very insightful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.